some things from that episode. And the story ends with, I don't remember perfectly, but it ends with something like, are we going to tell our mother? Would you? Kings have fools. When we challenge authority, we think of the court jester. And the court jester can say and do whatever it wants to, because if you take that fool seriously, you look like a fool. So all the people in the court have to go, you know, it's the fool, and the fool can say anything. We have that role still current today. Jon Stewart is basically a fool. He challenges the political systems, the power that be, and he can, some pretty cutting satire, but no one comes and says, off with his head, because he's a fool. He's in his foolishness. We can accept that. Shakespeare loved fools. I can give example after example of Shakespeare and fools. Hamlet, great tragic character, but he has a time when he plays the fool. In, let's see, which play is it? It is, yeah, it's Macbeth. That's what I'm trying to think of. In Macbeth, after there's this gruesome murder of the king, everything gets quiet. And Shakespeare brings a fool out on the stage. And this guy is completely drunk. He's been up all night drinking. And he comes staggering in. Knock, knock, knock. And he's staggering out. He's trying to answer the door. And he says that he wanted to let one in of every kind of trade into the gates of hell. And he does this ridiculous comedy scene. And it's challenging authority. And it's challenging our expectations. I want to give examples from my own life. And here is one where, as a teacher, I was in a position of authority. And one day, a student has to read a poem in front of the class. He knows the poetry. This is the poem that the student read. Miller's nose is so big, it covers his face. Like the Great Wall of China, it can be seen from outer space.
That's great.
So we say, the foolishness, there's a message. So what was the message? Well, the message was for me, which is, yo, dude, take it easy. You need to lighten up. You need to be able to laugh with us. And to do that, we're going to help you out by laughing at you. which they actually did quite a bit. I wore my duck suit a lot in life. And I wore it often when I was teaching. I would wear my duck suit and look pretty foolish. I had an Honors 9 class. And as an Honors 9 writing instructor, I was a beast. I was on them for every syllable, comma, whatever it was. And they felt fairly beaten up. All the 9th graders come and they know how to write really long things and lots of fancy words. I'd say, get rid of fancy words. You don't know those. Let's get down so you can write a sentence that makes sense. And it was a rough process. Well, one of my Honors 9 classes decided that I think they'd had enough of my authoritarian position. And they brought in pasta. And I didn't know at the time. I was sitting in front of the class and they said, "What, do you like pasta?" I said, "Sure." And they unloaded big grilled pasta, cooked pasta, all over, covered me. All of a sudden, my authoritarian stuff wasn't so authoritarian. That's the class clown, the role of the fool, challenging authority. It was done in a way that made sense. Everybody got the message. So that's one kind of ways that fools challenge authority. You know, what we think needs to be done. The second one, personal fool, challenges attitudes and beliefs. Ask, why am I doing what I'm doing? Ego develops strength as we grow older, you know, from the time we're little children, but it keeps growing. And ego decides, I know exactly what's going on. I know right from wrong, I know what's needed, and it just entrenches. And it does so for good reason. Our survival depends on it. Ego is our interface with the world. But ego, after a while, decides, I know everything. Well, it doesn't quite work that way. And what the fool, the inner fool can do, the one that we need to shake hands and make friends with, will challenge some of those positions. Ego has to make decisions about gender, race, all kinds of identity issues. identifying with a political party, whatever it is. And it becomes rigid. After a while, the whole being wants to become whole. Psyche tries to rebalance things, and it produces the inner fool. If you ignore the inner fool, you can become like Macbeth. If you say, nah, I'm not foolish. But if you learn to recognize that inner fool, then you can embrace it, and you can see what it's trying to reflect back to you. Just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean that this isn't part of you over here. And it helps us to maintain and to keep our balance. I want to tell 2 stories from that. This first one I have to come down for. When I was, let me come over this way. By the way, the foolishness up here, I had nothing to do with it. That was not me. When I was a young guy, probably about 14 years old, and every summer night we'd go to the playground and we would play softball, baseball, whatever, and just hang around. So hanging around with the guys. And I just bought a new baseball bat from a guy who, he gave it to me because it was too big for him. He was twice as big as me. But I wanted this bat because I'm a little banjo hitter and it was good for bunting and such. So we're talking about the bat, and we get in this argument about what would happen if someone pitched a beer bottle. I had it all figured out. I knew the answer. Here's the answer. It's very logical. If the beer bottle comes in and I hit it on the button, all the glass goes that way. Right? Here comes the bottle. That hits it, drives it down. It's basic physics. So we argued and argued about it. And they're like, yeah, you're nuts, dude. I don't know. We're going to prove it. Go down to a little creek, find a beer bottle, and they're like, you're going to die. Somebody's going to die. All my friends back they're way over there, and I get, my one friend, and he does one of these, and he lobs it to me, and he's sprinting back. And this thing's coming so big. I was a great baseball player, good hitter. I see this thing coming, and I'm like, boom! And it pulverizes. There is no piece of glass left. It just disintegrated. Guess who's right? I win. Except for the little tingling. And I'm tingling everywhere. And they come up and they're like, oh, I am bleeding from at least 50 places. Little droplets of blood on my face. I didn't have a shirt on. None of them were cuts. They were just little drops of blood. So we had to do the thing that, you probably have done many times, which is take the shirt, go down to the creek, blot all the little bleeding wounds, get it all fixed. Looked like the measles. And then I had to go home. I'm late because it took so much time to clean up, and you do the old burst out. Oh, I'm taking a shower! And then you spend your evening reading in bed. My parents never did find out about that until about 20 years later. Another good one that I did, talk about the personal fool. What was the lesson there? I knew. I was so sure of myself. And every single person around me was saying, you're wrong. That's foolish. When you do not bother to heed what people are saying around you, and you are so sure of yourself. So I was a champion fool that day. Another time I was a fool with my son's soccer match one time. I'm coaching. And I was a good coach, and I enjoyed him. He's running around. He's probably about 8, 9 years old. I don't know what it is. He'd run up and down the field. And I'm looking, that guy's going to burn it. He's not doing something. So I start yelling, I'm yelling at him. And I never used to do that. I didn't coach that way. But he's my son, so I'm allowed to yell at him. A couple people started looking at me. Like I wasn't being mean, but I was loud. A couple people started looking. I didn't notice that because I'm the coach. I know what's going on. I'm going to get the defense set, blah, blah, blah. He runs down the field. All of a sudden, and he yells back, Dad, would you shut up? And I did shut up. Because I was a fool. I was playing a fool. And it's because, once again, I knew what was going on. I knew how to coach soccer. I knew where he should be. I knew there was going to be a problem if he wasn't picking up that guy. I was right, but only partially right. The last one. The personal fool who challenges the idea of I can't. I'm not going to do it. Well, we've got the same basic ego thing. Only this one creates missed opportunities. I'm not going to do that because I'll look silly. And I'm not going to wear a suit. And there's all kinds of ways that we protect our egos and say, I'm not doing that because I'm going to